Hey guys, I'm Baron McBoom and welcome to my first ever review. Well, more like first impressions of a game. I say first impressions because this is an early access game. It's not a finished product, but I still decided I just want to talk about this game because I was really impressed. I'm going to be talking about Forgive Me Father, a game that was just recently released by Byte Barrel developers. I've never heard of Byte Barrel before. The only other game to their name is the Mythbusters game. Let's have a look and see what they have to say about their own game. Forgive Me Father is a dark retro horror FPS set in a comic book style world inspired by the novels of H.P. Lovecraft. As the only one left with full senses, you begin a journey in search of answers and relief. How long can you last? So, as well as the developers, I'd never heard of this game before either, and what immediately drew me in was the visual style of the game. This beautiful cel-shaded comic book style really just grabbed my attention from the get-go. And as I continued watching, it looked right up my alley, a retro-style, old-school, fast-paced shooter. There's none of your typical modern-day hand-holding. There's no big glowing waypoints to guide the way. There's no big shiny weak points on the enemies. It's just a good, solid, fun game. Here's your guns. There's the enemies. Go and get them. It follows I suppose you could say, traditional key hunting level design, where you have to find the red key, the blue key, the whatever key to get out. Or make your way to the exit. But the mechanics of the game make this more than just a shallow, nostalgic shooter. First thing that jumped out at me was the madness meter. In the bottom right corner of the screen, you see this purple bar which will fill up during combat. Every time you kill an enemy, this bar will increase. As your madness increases, you will deal more damage and take less damage from the enemies, and once you reach a certain threshold of madness, the screen goes completely grayscale, which I kind of was on the fence about for a while. It made it very hard to tell how wounded you were. There wasn't the dimming of the screen or whatever, but I think that was by design. That's the kind of trade-off for doing more damage and taking less damage, is you gotta watch your health or you die. The grayscale madness screen got me killed more often than not. As well as fueling your rampage, your madness will also fuel your various skills in the game. Your cumulative madness will give you charges towards your crucifix, Bible, aspergillum, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and medallion. Your crucifix is used for healing. Your Bible is used for temporary invulnerability. The aspergillium is for stunning enemies, and your medallion allows you to fire without consuming bullets. These are all for very short periods of time, but they're good clutch tools. They can get you out of a tight spot if you got the reflexes. And as you kill enemies, you also gain experience. Experience equals levels. Levels equals skill points. You can spend these points on increasing your skills. Your crucifix, Bible, aspergillum, medallion, you can make them last longer, be more effective, etc., etc. You can also level up your weapons. Each weapon has at least 2 options for you to spec into. You can go akimbo revolvers or more accurate modern revolver. You can go for a tighter shot on your shotgun, or you can go for this demonic infused bouncy shell. The level design in the game is quite nice. Each level is a completely new environment. You go from apartment building, city streets, botanical gardens, ancient ruins, graveyards, several more really, really nice, well-designed, sometimes oppressive environments. There's a couple of sneaky little traps slipped in there as well. More than once in the first level, I found myself swarmed by an unexpected group of wretches who came out of the wall from behind me or just up the fucking stairs at the exit. While I was going through the first level, I did kind of feel maybe the game was going to be a little bit lackluster. I was going through these long straight hallways with these melee enemies slowly walking towards me, just lining up to get popped in the head. Explosive barrels all over the place. There was no challenge at all. Until I reached towards the end of the level, and a hit ton of wretches showed up in a very confined space. It took me about 3 or 4 attempts to get through that room, and then the game just picked up from there. Speaking of the enemies, the wretches... Visually, all the enemies are very well designed. They all just reek of Lovecraft and the Cthulhian mythos. In terms of mechanics, the wretches, the basic zombie mooks, some of them you might notice are carrying heads in their hands, and if you shoot those wretches in the head, rather than explode, die, whatever, they will replace their missing head with the head in their hands and keep coming at you, which I thought was just a beautiful touch. It didn't make them a huge amount more difficult. I mean, it still takes 2 body shots to drop them, 2 headshots to drop them. Not a massive difference, but it's just a really nice touch. You also have the fat fish, who are your first basic ranged enemies. I've noticed many times if you don't shoot the fat fish in the head, their upper torso will start crawling towards you, which on their own isn't really much of a threat, but if you're in the middle of a packed room and enemies and projectiles flying everywhere, you might not notice that fat fish crawling towards you. The Liquidators, also really badass looking enemies. They got these Cthulhu style gas masks and this liquid tanks on their back. Fairly effective long range enemies, but if you shoot that tank, they will explode and become kamikaze rushers. There's also 2 bosses in the game at this stage. They're like most of the game, the bosses are challenging, but they're not punishing. You're gonna kill the boss. If not in your first try, you're gonna kill him in 2, 3 max. Same goes for a lot of tough rooms. Overall, the visuals of this game are absolutely magnificent. I touched on it before. The art style, the cel-shaded comic book style, I found really appealing. I especially love the blood splatter when you kill an enemy, how you literally paint the rooms red. Just absolutely loved going into a nice, clean, sanitized room, taking care of a couple of waves, and then suddenly you're in this gore-splattered shithole. The sounds of the game are quite good. The enemy sounds and most of the gun sounds are very, very satisfying, but the shotgun and particularly the machine gun both stood out for me. There's something primal triggers when you're standing in the middle of a massive wave, pop your vulnerability, whip out the Tommy gun and just start spraying all over the place. It sounds amazing and you just feel like an absolute badass. Music as well, guys, very, very, very suited to each situation. There's a ominous tone when you're just kind of walking through the dark tunnels, and when you get to a set-piece wave survival room, as soon as you pick up the key or whatever it is that triggers the wave, just see for yourself. Half the time I was too busy headbanging to actually properly aim. The developers also hid several Easter eggs in the game. Now, I only found a handful myself. I'm sure there's many more that I missed or just didn't understand the references to. The ones that I found were the TARDIS, Han Solo frozen in carbonite. Dark Souls bonfire. Red rum painted across the door. I always appreciate that kind of a meta humor in the game, especially when it's not expected. But overall, guys, this is a very solid game, and considering it's only a few days into its launch in early access, this is a prime example of early access done right. This is a small group of developers who made a very stable, very functional piece of software, then released it to the public and are now asking for feedback to help develop. They already have outlined some of the plans they have for the game. They're going to bring in more levels, I think twice as many levels, 2 more bosses, another playable character, more enemies, more weapons, more skills. There's a lot more content. I reckon this game is going to at least double in size by the time it's fully launched. Overall, it's a fun, challenging, but not punishing game. Lengthwise, I got it done in about 4 hours. But I had it on normal difficulty and I just wanted to blast through it. You could take your time, stretch it to maybe 5-6 hours. And I have no doubt the final product is probably going to be about 8 or so hours. But that's just a guess. As the game is updated, I may revisit it and make another video. I don't know, but keep your eyes out for that. Otherwise, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you like this style of video from me, if you like to see maybe more reviews, as everybody keeps bitching about my opinions on games, if you'd like to see me give my opinion more often, let me know. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. I'll happily oblige. Otherwise, you know yourselves, guys. Like, subscribe, etc., etc. Very new to this whole YouTube thing, so I could do with the support. It would go a long way to help my channel and cost you nothing. And if you just found me on YouTube, no idea who the fuck I am, check me out on Twitch. I stream there most days of the week, playing all sorts of things. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Oh, right. That was close. That was very close.